to another episode of Cafe Negro Show. This is your host, Jorge Calle, and
Adriana.
we're excited to have you guys with us one more time. Today, we have another interesting episode. I know you're going to be excited to hear about this. So today's episode is Meet a Polyglot. That's right. I said meet a polyglot. just like yourself, just the same way that face you did. That's the exact same face I did when I heard this word. So, I mean, did you know what a polyglot was before we
No, I did
worked on
not. I'm
this?
excited to share with everyone what it
Correct.
is. Yeah.
So why don't we go ahead and just get right into it, ladies and gentlemen? Our special guest today, Mr. Sean Hopwood. How are you doing today, Sean?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you very much, both of you. I really appreciate being here.
Tell us a little bit about Sean. Who's Sean?
Well, my name is Sean, and I'm basically from the Tampa area. I was born in Illinois. My father is from Europe, and my mother is from the United States. And I lived in the Tampa Bay area. I lived in Polk County, and then I moved to Tampa. And I've always had this passion for languages. I grew up in a primarily really multicultural neighborhood. I mean, there were people speaking all different languages in my neighborhood, a lot of Spanish.
Absolutely. And for those of us that live here in Florida, we know exactly what he's talking about. It's a melting pot here. All kind of languages, all kind of cultures.
I love it.
I completely understand.
And I used to hear people speaking, and I remember when I was really young, this guy, this kid, we were playing in the playground, and he said, "Este chico está loco." And I said, "I know what you're saying." He's like, "How do you know what I'm saying?" Because I could just tell by your expression. I'm like, "You're calling me crazy," and he was like, "Oh," and he just laughed, and then like we became really good friends after that. And then I just learned that whenever you understand people and you get what they're saying, not just on a linguistic level, but like on a cultural level, they feel so comfortable with you. They like,
oh
I don't know,
yes,
they get like a warm feeling in their heart. And so I just got a passion for that whenever I was just like 7, 8 years old. And then I started learning. I took Spanish and French in high school. I took Laotian classes on my own. And
Laotian.
yeah, it's like Thai. It's like Cambodian Thai.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a country, just north of Malaysia and all that area. So
Amazing.
I lived with some people from Laos for a while. So I love that language. And then I got to college and I took Arabic, and then
Arabic.
It goes on and on.
I thought that I'm not sure if it was just, I heard it somewhere. I think that's one of the hardest languages.
I think it's already the second most difficult language to learn.
Wow.
That's what I read. Yeah.
That's a challenge on its own.
Yeah. And going back to our title, right? So a polyglot, right?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So Sean, can you give us just the most basic definition that you can for what is a polyglot?
Yes, please, Sean.
Yeah, and it does seem like a really basic thing to me because it basically just means someone who speaks several languages. And I looked up the definition to see if there was something more complicated than that, and there really wasn't much more complicated.
I was thinking about that. You know, we do have a lot of friends that they tell us, you know, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, but they only can remember either bad words or I don't understand la biblioteca. So what I find is that normally the people that keep it or you know, expand or hold on to the Spanish or whatever language is either they're married to somebody that's Hispanic or has a best friend where they constantly practice it, or they lived in the country for some time and they just fell in love with the culture, like you said, more than just the language. So that makes sense.
That makes sense with me. I mean, my girlfriend, she's Hispanic, so we speak Spanish all the time. It's great.
Where is she from? What country? If you can.
She's born in Puerto Rico, but she's half Colombian, half Puerto Rican. So it's a great,
okay.
She's both cultures. She's great, you know. And so
nice. Congratulations, baby. That's great.
Yeah, she's very nice, and we practice all the time. I mean, that's basically.
Well, so that's you, and then she's Puerto Rican and I'm Ecuadorian, so our kids are Eco Ricans.
And of all the languages that you speak, Sean, which one is your favorite and why?
That's a difficult question because
if
you had to pick one,
so you better say
it used to be Spanish, but now it's more all of them, because this is a very interesting thing that I observe. that I'm the only one who can really observe it because it's me. But whenever I'm talking to people from, let's say, China or something, they're like, "Oh wow, you love my culture," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And then I'll speak to someone from Cameroon, or someone from France or Russia. They're like, "Wow, you really are interested in my culture." And so each one of those people think that I'm like passionate about their culture. And
Correct.
but
I
when
see
they
what
see
you're
me
saying.
surrounded by a lot of people, they realize it's all cultures.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I've learned, I've learned to have a passion for all cultures. The reason why Spanish
Interesting.
has always been in the forefront is because there's a lot of Hispanic people here, and there's a lot of opportunity to learn it. But
Of
Correct.
course.
I would really, given the opportunity, I would just love to be surrounded by just every language that I can. Like I play soccer with a lot of people from Jamaica right now, and I'm trying to pick up on the dialect from there as much as possible. It's beautiful to me. Yeah, so it's cool.
I think that's such a great answer. That is such a great answer because it is very true. I think that somebody that loves the languages, it's more than just knowing the language. It's like we're starting to see where that came from.
Yeah,
There's a desire to connect
yeah.
with people with different cultures and just
It's a,
hungry for something new and refreshing and so there that makes perfect sense why the language is so essential for that
yeah,
connection. So
yeah,
I see what you're saying. It's not the language, but it's the connection that it
The
allows you to
culture,
have
yeah.
with the
and,
other
and and
culture.
and it's a big personal thing for me too, because I just have this desire to always make people feel welcome and happy, and and it's just like just being able to know one word in their language, it just helps so much break the ice and make them feel happy no matter where we're at.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I really is a big thing to me, is making everyone feel welcome and comfortable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in the environment we live
Mhm.
in my profession, likewise, we deal with different offices, and if an office has a Spanish speaking person,
Yeah.
I immediately go to that, and we'll be talking. The meeting could be 100% in English, but
Yeah.
I'll be like a side note, just to create that connection, that networking with the company. I'll
Definitely.
just say a phrase in Spanish, hey, ¿cómo estamos? ¿Cómo está todo? And they're like, oh, todo bien, mijo. And then all of a sudden, it's a completely different connection now, and
Yeah.
it shows. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
able to excel in my job because I have a connection with them, and they're more
Definitely.
responsive. So it's
Definitely.
it's it's so useful,
Yeah.
and it's
Sometimes you
so
can even see it.
great.
You can even
Yeah,
see it in their eyes sometimes. They just relax.
correct, correct. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, we're at a different comfort level now
Yeah. Yeah.
immediately.
So, Sean, if you can tell us a little bit about your company, and then after you tell us, then you can tell us a little bit about the difference between interpretation and translation. But if you could just start with telling us a little bit about
Yeah.
your company.
And when you tell us, and for those that are listening, once again, thank you so much for joining us here at Cafe Negro Show.
Yeah.
So there are people out there that, well, like all of us, we live in a world where a career, finances is important. Our dreams, our
Yeah.
desires are great, but we do need to find a way paying the bills. And like
Yeah.
you said, I know that people hearing you are getting inspired by just the connection with other cultures, and
Yeah.
perhaps they never saw it like that. Like just when
Yeah.
you just gave us that answer, it,
Yeah.
it is very true. It's
Mhm.
not just learning the language, but it's a whole other level of connecting to the world,
Definitely.
which is kind of where we're heading to in the future. The world's just getting smaller, so
Yeah.
the easier we can connect with people, I think it's a great advantage as human beings.
For
um,
sure.
so obviously now this question, like Jenna said, we want to know, how is it that you've been able to accomplish your dream and been able to make a living out of it? I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. So we're excited to hear what you got to say. Let
Yeah.
us know.
Thank you. It's actually fascinating to me too. It's very strange to me because my company is called Day Translations, DAY
Daydream.
Translations.
Okay.
And right now we do so many things but like we've expanded. We try to, we have a very expansionary model, but everything is based upon languages. That's where we're based, and we're never going to leave from that initial basing, which is languages. That's the crux of what we do. Um, but yes, I started it in 2007. Just just started translating documents, just to make money on the side. And then I said, well, let me make a website. So I made the website, and the website started just getting a lot of hits. When we were getting like 5,000 website visits a day, sometimes 8,000.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, let me
Nice.
feed this. Let me feed this. I was doing a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, no, let me feed this because this is what's giving me money. So it just for some reason it just started snowballing, and it continues that way. And so I'm just like my grandfather. My company's named after my grandfather. His name is Francis Joseph Day, and so that's why we call it Day Translations.
Look at
Nice.
that. Very
Yeah,
good. You see, so nobody would ever know. That's the little insights that
yeah,
you're only gonna listen to here. All right.
yeah.
So you were saying,
Yeah, so so basically the name always reminds me of all the advice my grandfather used to give me. He used to tell me stuff like bloom where you're planted, feed or help the people who help you, feed the parts of your life that are successful and starve the parts that are not. And that's what I keep doing. So
wow.
um, I'm just constantly, trying to grow this company. It started off as a translation company, just doing Spanish, and then I said, well, let me try to do all languages, which is a huge undertaking, because there's thousands of languages out there,
Hmm.
and when you get someone calling you for rare languages, you got to find someone who can do it and all that stuff. But so we started doing translation. Then we started doing interpretation, which I guess we'll get into the differences in that. And then now we're getting into the really, really intricate parts of it, which is one of them is called localization, which is I think a lot of people listening should study that because that's a big thing in the future, what we're doing. Localization is
Localization.
basically,
It's really
yeah, it's basically like translation plus marketing plus cultural understanding. So if you're making a video game, and this is the biggest thing, the biggest part of the translation industry is localization. So if you got a new game, I guess there's a new one that just came out today. I forgot the name of it, but any game that comes out, the maker of the game has to have that game translated into several languages. There's a lot of money in that, but there's a lot of intricacies that you have to do. You have to translate the oral part. You have to translate the subtitles. You have to translate the screens. So it's a huge industry to be in,
I
localization.
can imagine.
Yeah, that's just one part. I mean, there's subtitles for Netflix that need to be done. For now, the new service they have out called Quibi. Disney,
I heard Quibi.
yeah.
There's
I
a lot
mean,
of promotion on that.
yeah. So I mean, all of them need subtitles. Disney, even Telemundo needs subtitles. Univision,
Of course.
um,
yeah.
Yeah, I
they
mean,
have
you start thinking
machines.
about it,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
I could
So
use
I
some
won't
for
go
Cafe
too much
Negro
deep into
show.
it. Yeah, I won't go too deep into it, but yeah, it's a huge industry, and
I mean,
it's
so there's a lot of opportunity.
definitely.
But so if you're interested in this world of interpreting, translating, and being a polyglot, um,
Mhm.
there's a way to make a great living out of it. Sounds like it, and I
Definitely.
mean, it's so cool for those that um, don't know us too well. Sean and I, we used to work together
Yep.
long time ago. We're not going to say the exact number because we don't want to give too much information about
Yeah.
ourselves. But
Yeah.
it was we were a lot it was a while ago, and
Yeah. We talked a lot. It was a good time.
yeah, it was a great time. And I remember you were beginning your business. I
Yeah.
remember you had just made an account
Yeah.
for your business. I don't remember if
Yeah.
it was the same name, but you were just super
Yeah.
excited about it. And
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
kind of like you said. I mean, I think when I met you, as an individual, you can see somebody that whatever you were going to put your hands in, kind of like what your grandfather said. What he said,
Yeah.
whatever you put, lay
Just
for your
um,
boots.
feed the thing that that you're passionate about. Feed your passions and starve your fears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
So
Like that.
it's great to see that
Yeah.
what I once heard you talk about has
Yeah.
become a reality. So congratulations, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it's a blessing for me to see you again and to be able to talk about this because it makes it feel more real to me. It makes it feel more like the people that I knew back then. I'm still talking to now and stuff. So
Absolutely.
it makes
Absolutely.
it's really nice to me.
So we
I really,
connected.
yeah.
Obviously, we connected. You see,
Yeah.
a few years
I'm
down the
glad you
road,
mentioned it.
and here we
Yeah,
are. Absolutely.
definitely.
So real
So,
cool.
so the difference between interpretation and translation, I also have a passion for languages. Like, I studied Spanish in USF,
Boom.
and
Bet you guys didn't know that.
and
Yeah.
and I know Spanish. So
So
we're like,
close.
why would you study Spanish? And like you
Yeah.
were saying, it's not just the language; it's everything
Yes.
that goes along. Like we study the
Yes.
culture of, South America, Central
Mm,
America, Europe, and all of that. Not
preach.
yeah, it was just everything. So for me, languages, I love it too. It's like he knows I've
Yeah,
always had like the passion for it.
I definitely know because I was at home with Kaz while you were finishing your masters. So it was a good time. Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Spanish literature.
Yes.
And it was, I mean, I do remember a lot of people were going, why are you going, to university for Spanish? You're Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about, there's just so much.
Yes.
The culture is so rich, and when she was going to class, the things she would talk about, I'm like, whoa, that makes sense. That comes
Yeah.
from that, and that's why they say this, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
very cool.
And
Yeah.
one of the first things that I did was I started doing like freelance jobs, like doing translations, all right? And then um, also interpretation. So one thing me is when people kind of interchange like the two terms, like
Yeah.
interpretation and translation, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not translation, that's interpreting.
She's talking
So
about me.
so you as like a professional, right? So can you
Mhm.
just tell us the difference between interpretation and
Please.
translation?
Yes, so I don't have to do that again to her.
Yeah. And I have the best answer for you. I mean, I do this all day. I have to explain it all the time. The best way, the most simple way to explain it, the way to explain it to people is translation is written, interpretation is spoken, and
Yes,
that's
yes.
and so and
There you go.
that might, and if you want to go deep, you can. Everyone knows that movie, The Interpreter, with Nicole Kidman, and so you say, well, you see what people do at the United Nations with interpreting, with the headphones on. That's interpretation.
Hmm.
Um, Translation is documents, written documents,
Hmm.
like translating books or translating a website or something like that. Anything that is you type is translation. Anything that you speak is interpretation. And I try not to be snobby about it, but like you'll hear people call from a hospital say we need a translator, but they need an interpreter. So you just
Right.
don't say anything. Like,
No,
okay,
I
well,
don't say nothing, but
yeah,
it's like in my head. I'm like, that's not right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like gyro, euro.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I want.
A hero. Some people say hero. I don't even know.
Well, there you go. So it's too many options.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what going off the the interpretation and translation, like in your experience, what makes a good translator and what makes a good interpreter?
Now, those are two different sets. I think
Right.
that for me, I can do both. I like both. I would much rather interpret because I have a low attention span. um, that's one of the big things. For a translation, you have to be very patient. So
Hmm.
I would imagine the people who are like bookworms or love to read would be a good translator. The
Yes.
people who are like to be out and about and doing stuff, those would be a good interpreter. So
Mhm.
but to be an interpreter,
Very
you have to
good.
have really good memory, especially your short-term memory, because even in interpretation, there's not only just one type of interpretation. There's like several types. The two big ones are consecutive and simultaneous interpretation.
Mhm.
Yeah, so with consecutive, like you'll see in boxing matches after someone just won a fight or something, they'll interview the boxer and he'll talk. And then the interpreter will be just sitting there waiting. And then the interpreter will speak. He or she will speak everything that the boxer just said. So you have to remember everything they said. Sometimes they'll go on for like a minute or 2 minutes. And you have to stop them. You're like, hold on, I have to remember everything you're saying. And the other one that some people think is harder. I don't know which one's harder, but which is simultaneous interpretation, is
Mhm.
whenever someone is speaking and you have to speak at the same time. And I try to liken it to when someone is playing a saxophone. The saxophone has to breathe in and blow out at the same time. That's like a huge skill you have to have. Interpreter has to hear and speak at the same time, and that's a really hard skill. So you have to have
Right.
a lot of focus. And a
Yes.
lot of times in the simultaneous interpretation industry, they actually have mandated breaks of every 30 minutes, and you have to have a partner come in, and they have to
I heard about
relieve
that.
they have to relieve you. And in Europe, they will not work without a partner. You have to have a partner in Europe, and a lot of places in the United States are like that too, especially in
Mhm.
Washington D.C.
Wow.
And sometimes even in Mexico and Mexico City, because the places where it's a bigger industry, they have more regulations like that.
Oh,
So
I'm sure.
yeah,
Right.
Especially when you're covering very important information.
yeah. I
You want to
mean,
make sure
imagine
you're
talking without
communicating.
some water. You need to get water. So yeah,
Yeah.
Right. And also I think that is something that is important too is being knowledgeable like about the culture, right? Because if you're interpreting, like I know for instance, like he said, I'm Puerto Rican, he's Ecuadorian. There's things that I say in Spanish that he has, I mean, at this point, we've been married for 10 years, so he knows. But
Yeah.
being knowledgeable about other cultures also can definitely help.
'Cause it
Like
could
just to
mean
know,
something
yeah, like
else.
different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So
Like if you're like talking to a Puerto Rican, they say something like "lo tiré al zafacón." You're,
yes.
ha- you're gonna if you have that cultural knowledge, you're gonna be like el tarro, el basurero, something. You're gonna know they're talking about
Yes.
the trash can, you know.
Yes.
So I mean, there's a lot of dialects in Spanish. I think to be a really good interpreter, you should know them all. I mean, you know, you're not gonna say, I can't do the interpretation because I only speak Cuban Spanish. I can't do it for the Mexican. You know, you need to be more well-rounded to do it.
Right.
And
Yes.
there's a lot of and there's a lot of stuff that a lot of more racy stuff or more crazy stuff that could be really
I'm sure.
or really misinterpreted. So you have to know your culture.
Very
Yes, for
good.
sure. I agree. Um, what are the three most commonly made mistakes in language? And I'm gonna put it for interpretation. What would you say are the three most common mistakes?
For interpretation,
Okay, yeah.
the biggest mistake people make is that they speak in the third person. When you're interpreting and you're saying you're next to someone and you say, this guy says he was driving 50 miles per hour. You'd be like, oh, he says he was driving 50 miles per hour. That's not how you're supposed to do it.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
the worst way to do it. I mean, because people are recording it. You might be in a courtroom. You might be in an immigration center. People are recording this. So you need to speak in the first person. You say, yes, I was driving 50 miles per hour. You have to remember, you're just a conduit of information. You can't add anything. You can't subtract anything. You can't give any advice. And that's another mistake. Sometimes people try to give people advice or add or subtract things or speak in the third person. No, you have to speak in the first person. You have to speak and say only what they say. And you can't say, oh, I think you should, if the judge says something, be like, oh, I think you should take the deal. You can't do that.
Yes.
You are pretend like you're a calculator. You're just doing the work and you're not adding or subtracting anything.
For instance, when we worked at the hospital, they had the interpreters
Oh,
that
yes.
and they had to deliver sometimes bad news. So it's a big responsibility. Just working in the hospital and seeing how people, the Spanish ones that we encounter, and they had difficulty, they didn't understand what the doctor was saying, and then they would sometimes grab someone that was not like certified. And it's just kind of like, it's important. It's a big responsibility.
Yeah,
I think.
that's why I really think that regulation is important. Making sure that the hospitals and doctors know that they have to have an interpreter. And actually, there's a law that was passed. I think it was a long time ago, but basically, it's part of the Civil Rights Act. You have to have an interpreter for someone who. It's a law. If you're a hospital or anything like that, you have to have an interpreter. This is one of the selling points that actually we do whenever we try to sell our services. We say, well, it's the law.
I mean, yeah, and now, I mean, you're protecting the person. I mean, it's information that they want to understand. And
yeah, but sometimes there's just so many people that don't speak English, especially here in Florida. There's so many people, that don't speak it, and it's just kind of easier just to get someone, or you're like,
correct.
where.
And then, sorry, correct. So it's good to hear this information because now you can see how dangerous it can be.
Yeah.
To just maybe grab your son, or if it's something important. That's where Sean's company comes in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
reduces
saying?
your liability. Yeah,
correct. It can. Don't you pay for what you get for it. If you don't, unfortunately, if you want to go to cheap, sometimes going cheap may cost you a lot more than you expected. So
And for our last question, so according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment for interpreters and translators is expected to grow 19% from 2018 to 2028, which is much faster than the average for most occupations. Wow. So, Sean, for someone interested in this field, do they need a college degree, or can they make this their full-time job? What kind of opportunities are available? And it's like a 3-part question.
Yeah, well, I would strongly encourage a college degree. I definitely think you can make it a full-time job. There's a lot of opportunities, and it's a very expansive industry now. There's this one website where I think it's called Common Sense Advisory. It's a website that talks about the translation and interpretation industry. And I think a few years ago, the industry was a $38 billion industry. And I think in the next couple of years, they're saying it's going to be around a $56 billion industry. And to give you a good comparison,
are they selling stocks?
It was the whole industry. To give you a good comparison, I think the NFL is a $4 billion industry. So
Wow.
The interpretation industry is very big. I strongly encourage people to understand and respect the industry and formalize themselves. Don't look at it as a side
Mm.
job.
Mhm.
Go all in and go to take courses. There's a couple universities that have full degrees. I think FIU does. I know one in San Diego does, and in Argentina they have a translation interpretation degree. In Spain, I mean, it's becoming a really big industry. It's a very important industry. So I definitely, this is what I do. This is, obviously my passion. So of course I'm going to say yes.
I
I think,
love it.
yeah,
Yes. Well, no, another great answer, Sean. Yeah,
yeah,
that's so true.
yeah.
We're
And
gonna go
I
for it.
want the people coming into my industry, in my company in the next 5 years to be, highly qualified. So of
Yes,
course,
Of
yes.
course.
Oh, that's excellent. Absolutely. I mean, if you're gonna
yeah,
go in all the way.
yeah,
Good,
definitely.
good answer.
Okay.
Well,
Uh,
Sean, I mean, we definitely have covered some great information. I truly, truly, truly want to thank you so much for your time. I know that you're a busy man and you constantly got stuff going on, but I think that this is going to help a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
So from
Yeah.
here, I don't know if there's any last words you have for us or anything else you wanted to promote.
I'm just as grateful to be part of this, this interview. It's helping me a lot to, to speak about the things that I'm so passionate about. So thank you too. No, just thing I want to just promote is my company, Day Translations. The website is daytranslations.com. We do a lot of different things, but you can go on the website, you can see everything we do, and you can see how expansive it is. You can go click through everything. We do multilingual customer service. We do subtitles for movies, all that stuff. It's
Wow.
really it's something that's really it's something beautiful. It's something I'm so glad to be part of. So
Awesome.
thank you very much for allowing me to talk about it.
Awesome. Awesome. Adriana, any last words?
no, just I thank you again, Sean. We really appreciate it, and just definitely when you have a passion for something and you're able to make that your full time job and your career, it's great because it's good to love what you do. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Awesome.
Muchas
So thank you
gracias,
everyone for tuning in again. This has been another episode of Cafe Negro Show with your host George, and
Adriana.
like, comment, share, tell a friend, tell a dog, tell your neighbor, tell your mama, whoever you need to tell. Yeah. Cafe Negro Show.
Buenas noches.
Ciao, ciao.
Gracias.